Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into the fascinating world of automotive repair. Not just the mechanics, but really the essential language you need.
Right. To understand your vehicle and talk confidently to a professional.
Exactly. Our mission is to equip you with the vocabulary and insights to decode your car's signals, identify common issues, and, interact with confidence when repairs are needed.
We